I know you're probably tired of all of these stage jokes I've been making, but I can promise you they'll only stop once we finish talking about this game. So, curtains up. The show is about to begin on this deep dive of one of my favorite games. Hey y'all, it's Sailor, and from the introduction, you can already tell we're going to be talking about Reveil. But we're really going to be getting into the nitty gritty of this game with all of the little things you might have missed when playing the first time. So, this is your one and only warning. There will be major spoilers ahead. Also, a quick content warning since we're doing a deep dive, that means we're going to be talking about all the good and the bad about Reveil. If you are sensitive to any of these topics shown on screen, we completely understand that this may not be the video for you, so please take care of yourself and we will see you in the next one. Alright, I'm going to try to keep this as focused as I possibly can because I can easily go off on a tangent about this game. Reveil is a first-person psychological horror walking simulator with a heavy focus on story and puzzles with a twist you will not see coming. Reveil first came out in March of 2024 and it was developed by Pixel Split. And a little side note here, as I was trying to figure out dates and cycle numbers, I gaslit myself into thinking there was a certain amount of cycles. 961? What? I wrote this number down in my damn notes twice, but I couldn't find the actual gameplay to back it up in any way, shape, or form. So that was a spiral all on its own. It looks like NORN has successfully implemented a memory fragmentation in my own head that I was not aware of. Alright, here we go. You wake up as Walter. Your head is pounding from a migraine, and you reach for your pain medication.
It's literally fucking Tylenol, bro.
But was it really Tylenol? We're gonna have to get back to that. You begin to look for your wife Martha and your 7-year-old daughter Dorie, and immediately you can tell there are red flags everywhere. Walter's side of the closet is filled with his clothes. Martha's? Empty. Her side of the room is taped up as if she'll be moving somewhere soon. Something's off, but you can't place what it is yet. You find the key out of the bedroom and step into the hallway. It's quiet, except for the sound of Martha's favorite song playing on her record player and the house shaking like it's experiencing an earthquake. The living room looks normal enough. The only thing that looks like it might be suspicious is you can tell someone has been sleeping on the couch. There's a paper on the table inviting you to a meeting with Dorie's teacher because Dorie hasn't been listening in class and hasn't been turning any of her homework, and her test scores are not where they should have been. There's a calendar on the wall showing the date as May of 1981, and there's an event called Family Day that's circled on there.
I wonder if for once family night will actually happen.
There are pictures of Martha and Dorie all around the living room, including their very first high-wire performance together in the Nelson Bros Circus. But there are no pictures of Walter anywhere. You head to Dorie's room and see that she's not there, but she did leave a map for you to find her sketchbook. After completing the needed puzzles, you unlock it, and the deeper you get into it, you realize it's not all sunshine and rainbows. No. Okay. It's fine. The first couple of pictures start out to be fairly normal for a child's sketchbook. A happy family living together in the circus, Dorie standing in front of the circus tent, various circus animals, a house they finally bought after the circus stopped traveling. But then the pictures get darker. Parents screaming at each other while Dorie stands in a corner all alone. A picture of Dorie lying dead in front of the circus with a scribbled out figure holding a pair of scissors. A weird building that had multiple ladders and stories that didn't lead to anywhere. And finally, a giant red eye staring at you. The book slams shut. You turn around and expect to see Dorie's wall with her desk that you just solved a puzzle at a couple of minutes ago, but it somehow turned into the lake that leads to the circus. Dorie is playing hide and seek with you as you walk along the lake, remembering the fond times you spent with your family there. Dorie's game of hide and seek eventually leads you into the funhouse, and after some puzzles to turn the power back on, you follow her inside. And this is where it stops being just eerie and turns into a horror game. At first, the funhouse seems normal, little wooden clowns jump scaring you as you go through turning tunnels and areas that just don't make sense.
Where did she go? Wait, where did I go?
You reach an elevator and descend into what feels like hell. Red, cloaked figures are flickering around you as you get off the elevator. Don't turn your back on them, though.
Oh, no. No.
You might
no,
not like
no.
what you see. As you progress further into the funhouse, it becomes more and more scary. There are masks that follow and watch you, shifting hallways, a mirror maze where Dorie does her best impressions of her best horror movie jump scares. You finally escape, only to be pulled into a blinding bright light and waking up in an apartment that you don't recognize. There's a ringing sound that pulls you to a phone booth where the phone pulls you in to answer. You wake up again and you're back home in your bedroom with that pounding migraine. This time, you can't find your medication anywhere. So now, not only are you searching for Martha and Dorie, but you're also searching for that sweet relief that only your pain medication can give you. The house is worse than it was before. Empty alcohol bottles and pills are everywhere. There's a new hallway that appeared, and you as the player are so confused because you know it wasn't there before. Walter makes a comment that the wall there looks weird and notices the tracks along the floor. You climb up the stairs that lead into the bathroom, and it's filthy. But you see your pills in that dirty bathtub water, so you reach in.
Gone. But that was Dorie.
You turn around and Dorie is sitting on the edge of the sink, but something doesn't look quite right about her. You soon find yourself in Martha's art studio, and it seems almost cozy at first. The sunlight is streaming in, and it feels light and airy, until you find Dorie's brutal practice schedule. It shows she has to practice every Monday through Thursdays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., practicing her juggling, spins, jumps, endurance exercises, and balancing on the wire. And her weekends, there's nothing fun for her to do as a child. Rehearsal is from 10 a.m. to the start of the show at 6 p.m. I want to take the time to remind everyone at this point that Dorie was 7 years old. Then you notice the funny looking eyeball, and for this you have to collect 3 offerings while the blind nightmare version of Martha stalks you in her nightmare art studio through the looking glass.
Okay. This gets weirder and weirder. Am I supposed to go through the looking glass?
This is where you find one of the first pieces of hard evidence that Martha and Walter were not happy in their
No
marriage.
discussion. Dorie will keep performing with me. Can't you see this is her future? You will not change that.
Martha was pushing Dorie to keep performing in the circus, while Walter just wanted her to be a kid.
I felt helpless. What was that?
You try to leave, and Nightmare Martha snatches you into unconsciousness. You wake up once again, and you're really starting to question everything. The house layout is completely wrong. There are scratch marks on the walls, not from an animal, but almost as if something has been rubbing along the same spot for years. The kitchen is a disaster area. Pizza boxes are on the counters and tables, empty alcohol bottles, food that's been rotting on plates for who knows how long. There is a spray can next to the fridge that has the words NORN in bold letters along with the triangle symbol that you've been seeing all over the place. Wait, it changed? Was it just a can of regular spray paint? Okay, cool. Everything's normal. Moving on. Your garage is lit up like a bowling alley. Low lights with neon symbols all over the room. Those symbols are the combination to your lockbox, but you have to find the correct symbols to use, and with that, you'll need the help of course, the mannequin, because of course it's a mannequin. You find the correct symbols and unlock the box, and find your prop sword that you modified to have a secret compartment in the hilt. Inside is Dorie's circus contract that was signed when she was a child. Dorie has to remain in the circus for 7 years until the age of 16. She has to attend and perform in all circus performances and appearances with a minimum of 1 full day of rehearsals before the show, and that amounts to at least 40 hours a week. She will be provided with adequate food, lodging, and medical care while under this contract. The circus is not liable for any injuries that may be sustained by Dorie during her performances, and if she were to fatally be injured, her parents would receive a sum of $1,000. Walter's signature is on there, but he doesn't remember signing. He would never sign that. And now somehow we're on the circus train, being jump scared by Emma the elephant.
Oh. It's just Emma, our oldest elephant.
And being chased by a broken mannequin.
What the fuck is this? Oh, I need to get away.
and remembering fights that you and Martha had about Dorie. She was taking Dorie, and there was nothing you could do to stop her. Dorie was going to continue performing in the circus. Dorie asks Walter if she and her mom are going to live with Uncle from now on. The boiler explodes and knocks you unconscious. This time, when you wake up, Walter has a game plan in mind. He can't let Martha take Dorie from him. He has to protect Dorie. We have to save her from Martha. Give her a chance to be a child. We know Martha is practicing alone because she yelled at us for being out on the lake with Dorie, getting her sick. So now she has to perform by herself.
Dorie's sick at home. I think today's the only chance.
You walk into the main event area and see her practicing alone. You hurry up to the rigging and grab the bolt cutters that are there. First snip, the safety net is dropped. And then with the next, you end the life of your wife, Martha, and your daughter, Dorie, who you didn't realize was also practicing at the same time. Walter releases an anguished cry when he realizes he killed the one person he was trying so hard to protect. You go through a forest area looking for things that you don't recognize but feel like are yours. A watch, a puzzle cube, and a pair of dog tags with the name Liam Kennely. You're probably saying, well, Sailor, isn't this a game about Walter's guilt, about him killing his wife and child? Not quite, but I promise this will all make sense later. Once you place those 3 objects, you board the terror train and you go through Walter's life story that leads all the way up to Martha and Dorie's murder.
God, no.
And the whole story changes. You wake up to an alarm and red lights outside your window. And for a second, you think it's the police coming to arrest you for murder, but it's not. This is when you're finally seeing everything for what it truly is. There are cameras in the house, walls moving, leaving behind those scratches that you saw earlier. It feels like the whole building is shifting, but instead it's just heavy mechanics pushing the rooms to the order they need to be in to confuse you. This is making no sense. As you walk through the house and every other place you've been through, you realize everything is fake. The circus, fake. Martha's art room, fake. Dorie and Martha, fake. Their deaths were literal props. Bodies that dropped from the ceiling that were scooped away for the next cycle. Everything that we saw in the first part of the game was fake. It was all a part of fabricated memories. And the ones behind all of this, NORN Corporation. That triangle symbol we've been seeing everywhere, yeah, that was them. So if we're not Walter, then who are we really? We're Liam Kennely. Remember that name? We found that name on the set of dog tags. That's who we really are. Liam was a high school dropout and left home at an early age to escape his abusive parents, and he joined the army. A few months later, he left the army to take care of his dying father, Arthur, who left his watch to Liam when he died. Liam has no friends, no family, and no relationships. He hasn't worked a steady job in a very long time, and that apartment we kept seeing, that's Liam's apartment he's about to be evicted from. Liam was the perfect target for NORN because no one would miss him. NORN sent Liam a puzzle cube that told him if he could find them, he could receive $1,000. Liam solves it and heads to the next location that NORN directs him to go to.
Oh, something came out of the cube. It's ringing. Must be a hint.
And solves another puzzle, this time under the watchful eye of a weird mannequin. Liam enters into the elevator and goes down directly into NORN's trap. A voice tells Liam to enter chamber 3. He does as he's told and he sits down for one final test. He hits that timer with no hesitation. He needs that money to help pay rent. The speakers emit a high-pitched noise that knocks Liam unconscious. And this is where the true experimentation begins. You escape from your cycle prison and begin to explore NORN, and you can see that NORN is very secretive. Employees that want to quit are taken care of, and in the case of an emergency, NORN calls their own emergency services and response teams. You also begin to find little bits and pieces about what kind of experimentation they did there. 2 words: memory replacement. In typical evil scientist fashion, they didn't care whether their subjects lived or died. The subjects typically wouldn't make it past 8 hours after the initial imprinting. They would die from brain hemorrhages. They would regain their old memories while still retaining the full imprinted memories. The signs of the brain hemorrhage about to happen: severe headaches that increased in frequency and intensity. Liam, though, he was a very special subject, because by his 50th cycle, they realized that even though he was experiencing headaches and dizziness, they weren't as severe as the other patients, and any other minor symptoms he might have experienced weren't even discovered until days later. That made him an excellent subject for the more severe and unstable memory experimentations. We can find his earliest log, dated October 23, 2001, and he was imprinted with the memory called Traumatic Family Killing 01, meaning it was his first cycle. He awakened and wasn't able to recall any details about his previous life, and he was able to identify that the artificial house that was fabricated for him and his family was his home. He saw a picture of Martha and Dorie and were able to successfully identify that they were his family and basic information, but he was not able to recall the traumatic parts of the memory. That part was his brain trying to protect him from the traumatic events that they imprinted into his brain. Everything was planned to the finest details, and we can see all of this in the planning room. Dorie's appearance, the layout of the house and the circus, the puzzles, the props, the way that they were supposed to make him feel. And the Tylenol that he so desperately needed wasn't Tylenol at all. It was actually a hallucinogen to help make everything around him seem like it was real. It added that layer of reality to help with the longevity of the memory. What was NORN up to, though? Why were they wanting to experiment to begin with? Well, according to some emails found in the memory imprinting chamber, they wanted to try to use memory placement to possibly treat neurocognitive disorders and possibly use it in a therapeutic way. Someone high up in the government was very interested in this research that NORN was doing, so they wanted NORN to test it on an outside subject. The subject was already picked, and next to that very computer, you can see who that subject most likely was. A senator from Arizona who was rumored to be diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's, and he miraculously recovered after a visit to the Neurological Care Institute in Phoenix and took part in an experimental treatment. Boy, I wonder who did that. There was a massacre that occurred in NORN's facility on August 18, 2017, and by the time Liam escapes his cycle and begins to see the truth, 11 days has passed. Now, the big question: who committed this massacre? Was it Liam, a former employee? Another subject possibly broke containment? Let's go down a theory rabbit hole. Okay, let's say Liam did do it. How? There was an email in the server room that said Hannah, the security officer, needed to stop leaving her gun around, especially in Unit 2 where Liam was housed. And when we first leave the unit, we can clearly see a gun holster with no gun. Was he hallucinating when he went on the rampage? Or did he snap and escape? But if it was him, how were the doors still locked? Did an employee escape and was able to override all the locks, so Liam had to go through and disable every lock to get in? What about a former employee? Is it possible they snapped? We see an email talking about an employee who wanted to quit, and the response was that it would be handled. We don't know if the employees were allowed to leave. We never saw the rest of NORN, so we don't know if employees were completely cut off from the world. What if another subject broke out of their containment? We know Liam wasn't the only test subject, so what if another subject was able to disable their tracking mechanism somehow and were able to get the jump on everyone in NORN, and Liam was still blissfully unaware of the horrors that were happening right outside his unit? What do you think is the most plausible explanation? Now, Reveil has 5 different endings. There's the killing headaches end, where you lay down and wait to die from your brain hemorrhaging, and this ending takes 5 real minutes in order to complete. of just laying there and doing nothing. The next ending is the just get out of here ending, where you grab the ID card, and no matter how much Liam insists you do something about the headache, you just leave NORN forever. The Good Life Therapy opens up some possibilities. You have to grab the Good Life Therapy disc from the planning room and pop it into the memory imprint machine. You are now John and live on a beautiful lake while your wife Mary calls you for dinner. Except it's not Mary. It's Martha's nightmare version, seeping into this peaceful memory. You hear voices saying that Subject 7 has been captured and to get him ready for transportation. And there needs to be a cleanup crew sent to this facility. There's the Stuck in a Dream ending, where you keep the circus memory running forever and live in the never-ending cycle of killing your wife and daughter over and over. And then finally, you have the escaped ending, where you use the de-imprinting disc, fix your memory and your headaches, and you leave NORN, hopefully forever. Liam's life was stolen by NORN for 15 years, 9 months, and 26 days. That is 5,777 days of psychological torture and memories that never existed. But he knows that NORN will want him back, and he's prepared to keep on running to save himself from them again. Thank you so much for joining me as we did this deep dive into one of my favorite games, Reveil. Let me know if you've played this one and tell me what your theories are on who went on a rampage in NORN. Was it Liam? Another patient? A mad employee? What about someone we haven't thought about? Also, tell me, what ending did you get? If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe so you never miss a moment of Scream Queen sessions. We post new videos every week, and be sure to check out the podcast where Lunar and I talk about not only this game, but other horror games as well. All of our socials are linked down in the description. Please join us as we start gearing up for the next game of the month, Soma. Once again, I'm Sailor, and this has been Scream Queen Sessions, and we'll see you in the next one.